Lacto Fermented Carolina Reaper hot sauce. I am super pumped to share this recipe with you. It is the spiciest hot sauce I've made to date. Delicious, nice and fruity, nice and spicy, and you're gonna love it. There are a few different ways you could go about the fermentation process. My preferred method is the Noma guided fermentation way, a bulletproof way. It's always accurate, it's always consistent, and I just love how the end result always is, right? I fermented these ingredients for 1 month, so I'm gonna go over that process and then we'll make the sauce. Let's get it. So here's an overhead shot of all the ingredients you're going to need. 6 Carolina Reapers, 2 red bell peppers, 2 peaches, 1 head of garlic, rosemary, fine sea salt, and water. Yes, Carolina Reapers are very spicy, but they also have a fruity floral flavor to them, which pairs very nicely with white peaches. So with the peaches, we want to keep the skin on, stand that upright, and cut around the stone. Cut each piece of peach into about 1 inch rough chop. Once you're done cutting up the pieces of peach, put them into a mixing bowl. With bell peppers, once again, you're going to stand them upright and cut around the seeds and placenta, each section into a rough chop as well. The red bell peppers are going to add a nice flavor and color to the final sauce. Once cut up, put into the bowl. Now we're going to get some garlic. I'm using a whole head of garlic, and lightly smash each clove on a cutting board to remove the outer papery layer and put it into a mixing bowl. Now we move on to the star of the show, the Carolina Reapers. With the Reapers, all you need to do is yank off the stem. I definitely want to take note that wearing rubber gloves is a must when you're handling these peppers. They are extremely hot. Do your best to cut off any kind of rotten pieces and inspect the inside of the pepper. Make sure the seeds and the placenta look good. Optionally, you can scrape out the seeds and the placenta if you want to do that. I'm going to scrape out the seeds because I want to save them for planting a pepper plant next season. Now that we have all the ingredients cut up, we're going to move on to the fermentation process. You put a jar on a scale, set it to grams, and tare it, which means zero it out. Add the ingredients to the jar. Depending on the size of the jar that you have, you might need to get some sort of a blunt object. I'm using a rolling pin with no handles to squish down some of the ingredients. That way you can fit the rest of them into the jar. The last thing that needs to go in is the couple of sprigs of rosemary. Rosemary is going to play really well with all these ingredients that you have, and the final product is going to taste absolutely phenomenal with it. Once the rosemary is in, make sure to place the jar back on the scale and add the water. My go-to water is this bottled spring water. You could also use filtered water. Just try to stay away from chlorinated tap water if at all possible. If you happen to notice any kind of air pockets that have gotten dropped, definitely want to make sure to remove those air pockets. They will eventually cause problems during the fermentation process. And you want the water level to be just below the bottom of the neck of the jar. Record this weight, 789 grams, and you want to multiply that by 2.5%. And this will equal the amount of salt that you need in order to make our brine. If your scale does not read in decimal points, go ahead and round to the nearest whole number. Place a small dish onto the scale, zero it out, and add the calculated amount of salt, which is 20 grams of fine sea salt. Add the salt to a mixing bowl and carefully hold back the ingredients and pour the water from the jar into the mixing bowl. Using a whisk, you want to stir the water and the salt together until the salt is dissolved. Now you want to pour your salty water, aka the brine, back into the jar. And once again, you want to make sure to knock out any kind of air pockets that may have gotten trapped. Being that that one was close to the rosemary, they may or may not have created mold. Now I recommend placing your jar onto some sort of glass pie dish or glass baking dish, whatever it is that you have. That is to catch any kind of overspill. Now you want to place in your fermentation weight, making sure all those ingredients stay underneath that brine level. I love this fermentation lid that I have. It has a rubber flap on the top of it that will help release gas, but nothing is able to get into the jar. I'll leave a link in the description for you if you want to grab one of them. Now you want to let that ferment on the countertop, away from direct sunlight, for 1 month. I've always had best results when I keep my fermentation projects in a temperature range of about 68 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Carolina Reapers are no joke. They sit about 1.6 million on the Scoville heat unit, so they're definitely not ones to be careless with, right? Hence why I'm kind of outside. I'm gonna simmer all these ingredients for about 10 minutes, so I don't want to have all those fumes, just fumigating my house, right? If you need to do this inside, then put a lid on your stock pot and then you can simmer it. Put your headphones on, open a window, do whatever you got to do, or just go outside like I am, right? So that's probably the easiest way to go. And before I do get crazy with actually making the sauce, I want to check the pH on it. I'm looking for it to be less than 4.6. Normally my hot sauces sit about 3.4, 3.7, somewhere around there. If the fermentation process was successful, and it's sitting pretty good. 3.5 pH, more than safe to keep going, right? Man, that smells good. It should have like a slightly sour, acidic smell to it. Has like, it's Carolina Reaper, so it kind of tickles the back of your throat when you smell that. Smells delicious though. It should smell good, funky, sour, sweet. So like I said, we're gonna be cooking this. So I have a hot plate out here and then a lid, right? All these ingredients are gonna go right into the stock pot. There is a rosemary sprig that I'm gonna fish out. You don't need to keep that in there. It's done its job basically. And then really just wait for this to come up to a simmer. And then I'm gonna reduce the heat to like a medium low or something like that. And then just let it simmer for about 10 minutes, yeah? So as you can see, it's already starting to steam, starting to make me cough a little bit. These fumes are super gnarly, so put a lid on it even if you're outside. It's been about 10 minutes. I'm gonna kill the heat. Ingredients are nice and soft, and we halted the fermentation process. Get yourself a blender that has a glass pitcher on it like this. That way it doesn't transfer flavors. Blender set up, excellent. Try not to breathe those fumes in because they will irritate your throat. Right into the blender, my man. Put your lid on it and let it rip. So it's looking a little thick. Man, that has a nice bright red color on it. That is gorgeous. So again, don't breathe those fumes in. This is about 3/4 of a cup of apple cider vinegar. Just kind of see how much I need to add to it. Obviously, sauce consistency is a personal preference. You can do thick, you can do thin. It's kind of whatever you want, right? It's a cool thing about cooking, man. It's looking a little thin. That has a beautiful consistency on it. I love that. That looks so good. Probably gonna end up using that whole 3/4 cup of apple cider vinegar in that. Dump it all in. It smells good, man. It smells spicy. It smells sweet, delicious. I'm excited to try it. Another thing that you could do, I like having a smoother sauce, so I'm gonna strain mine through a Pharma strainer. Grab a small ladle and then just kind of lightly work that sauce through. It actually doesn't have too much pulp to it. It's cool. Just one little ladle full of it. That's a beautiful, beautiful consistency on it. I love that. So smooth. There's a moment of truth, huh? Whoa. That spiciness it comes in really, really quickly. Those flavors together are so good, though. Whoa, that's hot. It's delicious. The fermentation process really gives that a nice, just flavor profile. It's like sour, it's sweet, you can taste the peach, you can taste the pepper, and of course it's very, very spicy. It has a nice like umami right up front. I'm making my throat burn a little bit, my tongue's on fire, but damn it, this is good. I love it because it's not like super, super hot where you can't taste all the ingredients. Those peppers have a nice like fruity floral flavor to them. Those peaches kind of highlight that because peaches are delicious. They have a nice sweetness to them, right? The red bell peppers are there to kind of help round out that pepper flavor. Everything together just really complements each other. Just garlic, I love garlic, rosemary. You could taste everything in there. It's a freaking phenomenal hot sauce. So definitely don't be scared of this one. It's definitely spicy, but it's not gonna blow your brains off like going all Carolina Reapers would, you know what I mean? This is a banging sauce, man. I love it when a plan comes together for sure. My favorite way to use any kind of spicy hot sauce is on steak and eggs in the morning, dude. A little bit is definitely gonna go a long way. That's spicy goodness, man. Saucy. Lacto fermentation is where it's at for this one. Gives it a nice rich depth of flavor. I love putting this on steak and eggs. I love putting out burgers. I love making like chicken sandwiches with it, right? All of which I'll put on the channel eventually. So stay tuned for those and I'll see you in the next one.